As you can see on this channel, I have shared all kinds of settings for this LG OLEDs to get even the most wild experience, okay? But these are the settings that I use for almost every single game, okay? This is just too good, okay? I cannot turn this off, okay? So what I'm going to explain you here is what is new. This is the SDR HDR trick I used to play the games with black frame insertion, OLED Motion Pro. And the reason why this is so fantastic and I love it so much is because it improves the motion clarity. So it is like a GPU upgrade, bro. It's just that simple. How much would you pay for a new GPU to get more than double the FPS? It's just a no-brainer. So I cannot turn this off. This is gonna work for every single LG OLED with black frame insertion, even if your C2, C3, G2, G3 don't support black frame insertion at 120 FPS. It's still gonna work and it's gonna be very bright. Okay, it's gonna be even brighter. Okay. So now let me explain you what is new, because this is the same SDR HDR trick that I shared before. Link in the description of the video. So I'm not going to explain all the settings because the video would be longer than it needs to be. Okay, I am just going to explain you what is new. And what is new is a color correction. Okay, so this is an incorrect color correction. Okay, there is no accuracy possible when you are using black frame insertion because you are going to under track the EOTF. Okay, there is no accuracy. You cannot get an accurate picture quality when you use black frame insertion. Okay, you cannot get that. So forget about the creator's intent. We are trying to get more brightness to make black frame insertion look as if there was no black frame insertion. Okay? And that's what I have accomplished with these settings, and the picture quality is unbelievably good. Like I'm telling you, if you try these settings, if you have a PC, of course, these settings are for Windows 11. Okay, if you try these settings, I guarantee you there's no going back. Okay, there's no way you cannot use anything else. Okay, so let me share with you what is new. So what I'm doing is I am using this new app on the cell phone. It's called a white balance meter, or color temperature meter. Link in the description of the video so you can see how it looks. I made a video showing how it looks and how I was using it to calibrate. So now I'm gonna share with you my calibration numbers, and of course this is gonna be different for every single TV, but what I would recommend you is to try these settings and start with them as a baseline and then do your own calibration. So let's say you save these settings on a preset. Let's say you save them on filmmaker mode. Okay, then you have on game optimizer mode my previous SDR HDR trick without the color correction. Okay, link in the description of the video. So you can go there, copy those settings, then have these settings on filmmaker mode, then go back and forth to see if there is actually an improvement. And I guarantee you, you will see it looks better for every single game. It doesn't matter skin tones, everything looks better. And I will explain you why. And then use, let's say, cinema mode. Another mode that's to the left side of game optimizer mode, and do your own calibration. And then once you finish your own calibration, you see, okay, this is as good as I can get it, then switch from the previous SDR HDR trick to your calibration and to my this new color correction. Okay, and at the end, go with the one that looks the best to you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a 2-point calibration. Okay, so yeah, I will explain you later. So you see here the 2-point calibration. On the low, I lower the green to -2, the blue +3. So now this is gonna be different on your TV. So my recommendation is do it yourself. Here, I wouldn't recommend this specifically because it's just a little bit weird. That might be just on my TV. So on your TV it might just be blue +4, something like that. But try it. But on this high, I would definitely recommend you to start your own calibration. Give it a -10 to green and blue. -10 green and blue and start testing. And you will see with that app, you should be very close already to 6500K. So this is my calibration, -16, -13. So now for this calibration, don't touch the red, okay? Don't touch the red. And I will explain more how is that I got this result, these numbers, okay? I will explain more. But I would recommend you here to start your own calibration, -10, -10, and on the low point, just start with 0 and do your own calibration like that. And then I am going to stack this 22-point calibration on top of the 2-point calibration. So you can stack them together, okay? So what is this? 2-point, 10-point, 22-point. We're just having more precision on the calibration. So we have 2 points, so we have the lower end of the grayscale, the high end of the grayscale. Then we have 10 points, we have more separation, we have 10 sections. 22, we have 22 sections, so we have more control. And you can stack them together, okay, to get more fine tuning. So now on this 22-point calibration, let me explain you. If you go back and watch the video, that video that I'm gonna have posted in the description of this video, you will see that what I did was increase the visibility near black for black film insertion with this SDR HDR trick. It was bright enough already, but I needed to increase the visibility near black because black film insertion makes the near black darker, okay? So what I did was to start on this 22-point calibration, start on the lowest point, which is this code value 15, and increase red, green, and blue to 7. This is to increase the visibility, not to do any color correction. This is just to increase the visibility near black. And then what I did was to go then to the higher one, 48, do 6, and then do the next one, do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? And that progressive, reduction is to smooth out the gradients, because you don't want to have like a 7 and then 0. You don't want to have that. You need to smooth out so the gradients, the grayscale gradients, they look smooth, okay? And I tested that with test patterns, and this works very well. So as you can see here, for the first two, there's no changes on the color correction, but now for the next one, I am changing. And the reason is that app, that color temperature meter app, is not able to give you a reading when the picture is too dark. So for the lowest end of the grayscale, I don't know, because the app is not giving me a reading, so I cannot do a correction there, okay? So this code value was the one controlling the first picture that was giving me a reading, okay? So I was getting a reading on that picture, and this is the one that was able to control that, okay? So what I did was to change this white balance here, to change this calibration to get the results that I wanted to achieve, which was from 6450 to 6550K, and green to magenta balance from 0 to 0.001, leaning towards green, okay? Because I believe that 0.001 leaning towards green is what my cell phone is detecting as the 0. Okay, the video camera that you are using for this app, the video camera of your cell phone is going to detect, it's gonna give you like a green. It might be 0.002, 003. You have to test that ideally by buying a lantern that is 6500K. So if you point a white lantern that is 6500K to your cell phone camera, you should ideally get green 0, green to magenta balance and 0. But most likely you will get 0.001, 0.002, something like that. So ideally get a lantern, point that to your cell phone, get that green to magenta balance. So now you know that on your camera, the 0.002 is actually the 0. So when you do the calibration, you are not trying to achieve 0. You're trying to achieve 0.002. Okay? That's ideal. So let me go back to this and explain. So what I tried to achieve was that for every single picture from 0 to 255, what I achieved with these settings was 6450 to 6550K. So that range, every single picture was inside that range. And the green to magenta was leaning towards green, 0.001 or 0. Okay, that was the result of this color correction that I did. Okay, these adjustments. So now you see the change here. This is gonna be different on your own TV, but you can try it. Then we go up, 444, no changes. We go up, 334. We go up, 244. We go up, 133, and that's the last one. So now, again, do not touch the red for the calibration. The reason why you see the red here touch is because what I am doing is changing the previous adjustment. Okay, the previous adjustment was 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, decreasing when I increase this code value. Okay, that's why you see here the red 7. The next one you see red 6. Next one you see red 5. Next one you see red 4. You see red 3, red 2, red 1. That's why you see that red number. So that one should be the same for yours. So regardless of your calibration, regardless of your own TV, have that red in that value and have the rest of the numbers on the same value as red, and then you tweak it with all the pictures. Link in the description of the video so you can download 0 from 255, all the pictures. You can download it and test it yourself. So have all of them the same as red, and then using the pictures and using the app, you change that green and blue. Okay? So that is it. That's what is new for this SDR HDR trick. So let me recap all the settings. So I'm not going to explain all the settings because I've done that before, and link in the description of the video so you see why this setting. So I'm using FPS here instead of a standard. This is gonna change the colors too. I am using OLED Motion Pro High, or OLED Motion Pro. If you have a C2 or C3, OLED Motion Pro on. Then I'm going to show you the rest of the settings. Go here to brightness. We have screen brightness 38 for dynamic tone mapping. Okay, I have explained why this is the case many times, and how you can check this screen brightness on your own TV to make sure that's the value. Color depth 50, color gamut auto detect. We are in BT 2020 because this is HDR. White balance, what I explain you, what I show you, 150 with this correction, with the 2-point calibration and with the 22-point calibration. And to get the brightness, we come here, 1113, 111, and we change this mastering peak to 540, max CLL to 540, and this is because the SDR HDR slider on Windows is giving us max CLL 498. So this trick, this SDR HDR trick, works only and exclusively for Windows 11. So this is for the PC only, for Windows 11 only. We have HDR on Windows 11. We have auto HDR off on Windows 11. We have native HDR on the games off. We're opening the games on SDR, and we are maxing out that SDR HDR slider brightness. Okay, so when we just turn on HDR on Windows, we have that slider. That's for all SDR content. So when you max that out, There is a max CLL, and the max CLL is 498. What that means is what the brightness that the content is trying to output. So because that max CLL is 498, by selecting here the closest one, this 540, this is going to guarantee the TV is gonna max out all the brightness it can give you, basically. Okay, so if you didn't use black from insertion, you would get 800 nits, up to 800 nits on this 800 nits OLED, or up to 1000 nits on the 1000 nits OLEDs, or the G3 you get the maximum brightness to. Okay, so this is a lot. This is a lot of tweakings, and this is the summary of a lot of work, because these are the settings that I use. Okay, I care about these settings a lot. This is just the way I use my TV all the time. Okay, so I understand this is a lot. You might be confused. If this is the first video you see on the channel, you're gonna have no clue, like why all of that. It's just too much. So go back and watch the videos. I'm gonna have them linked in the description so you can understand this a little bit better. But if you have any questions, let me know. Just don't tell me to type in the comments these settings, because it's too much work. Okay, I would need to explain too much. I much rather do the video. So watch this video again. I show you all the settings. If you have any questions that you want to understand why something, any questions you have, just don't ask me to type in these settings, because it's too much. Okay, it's too much. I would need to explain why everything. Why I am using FPS, why I'm lowering the black level to specifically that number, why I am using that, SDR information inside that HDR container, why, the mastering peak max CLL, why increasing the visibility near black, why black from insertion reduces the brightness. It's too many whys to explain. It should be too long. I much rather do this video. And maybe your question, I'm trying to put myself in your position. Maybe your question is, okay, you're doing this color correction. How do I know when to change the green, the blue? How do you, let's go into that, man. I'm gonna make this video longer, because I know this might be a question. So how do I know what to change here on the white balance? Let's say, okay, I want to do it myself. You might be like, okay, I want to try it myself. I want to do the color correction myself. Okay, you have a good phone. The camera of the phone is important. Okay, if you use that color temperature meter app, you have warm 50, and you see that the white, so if you have that full white screen with those pictures, download the pictures. The link is in the description. I uploaded all the pictures to my drive, so you can download 0 to 255. So it's all those pictures. So if you try that full screen white and your cell phone reading is like 7,000, something like that, that's just not working. Okay, something wrong. Use a different cell phone. Okay, that app gives you the option to calibrate it. So basically, if the reading from your cell phone is wrong, what you can do is you can get a light. You can get like a lantern, like I was explaining. Get a lantern that is 6500K. It would be better to get a light that is ISF certified, but this method is not accurate anyway, so don't waste your money on that. It's not worth it. But if you already have it, by all means, use it. So use that light that is 6500K and point that to the camera of your cell phone. The app is going to tell you to use a white paper and point the light to the white paper, so then you can use the app. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. And the app is gonna tell you to not point to light sources. It doesn't matter. It works. So point that 6500K light to your app, to your cell phone, to make sure that your cell phone is actually reading 6500K, and it should. And actually, I have many people already confirming that that is the case. Okay, so now what your cell phone is not going to be, it's not likely to be reading is the magenta to green balance correctly. So that magenta to green balance, your cell phone might have that in, instead of 0, it might be leaning towards green, like 0.003. So that's a way to calibrate the app. So you have your cell phone, you point that 6500K light to your cell phone. You see that your cell phone is reading 6800. That app gives you the option to calibrate. So basically now you say, okay, when I am getting 6500K, the cell phone is reading 6800. You enter that into the app, and now the app, when it receives 6500K, is gonna tell you 6500K, okay? Because you told the app, no, that's not 6800, that's actually 6500K. You're calibrating the app. So now, use a different phone too. Try a different phone. A better phone camera should give you a better result. I am using the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which has a very good camera. So, to answer the question, how do I know what to change here? Very easy. Use this 2-point method, high, and just start with green and blue -10. Easy. I mean, if you just do that, I think that's enough. And you don't need to do any 22-point calibration. You don't need to do anything else. Just do that, compare before and after, and you will see a big difference. Big difference just by doing that. So if you just want to try a simplified version of all this color correction, try that. 0, -10, -10, and that should be most of it. Okay, most of it. And for the low part, don't worry too much about it. It's not gonna make a big difference. But you can just leave it at 0. It's not gonna be a big deal. But now, to answer your question, how do I know what to change? Don't touch the red. That's the rule here. The rule is don't touch the red, because the red, in my experience with these WRGB OLEDs, the red is challenging. Okay? So it's always clipping. The color red is clipping before any other color, especially on HDR. So we don't want to touch that, based on my experience. So if the app is reading 6700K, you want to lower blue. Okay, let's say we're here on high. To answer your question, how to change this. You are on the higher end of the grayscale. Okay, so the last picture, so 255 below 255. Okay, you see that the app is reading 6700K. You already calibrated your phone. You know that your phone is actually reading 6500K accurately. And you have warm 50, very important. You cannot do this with a cold or anything like that, because of course you're gonna get a colder result. So the app is reading 6700K, lower blue. Okay, so now when you lower blue only, you will see that the magenta to green balance is gonna go to the right. You're gonna get green. So that's why you have to lower the green. So you lower blue to get 6500K, and you lower green to get that magenta to green balance to be closer to 0. Okay? Or to be closer to the magenta to green balance of your camera, of the camera of your cell phone. Okay? So if the camera of your cell phone is 0.003, that's what you're trying to approach. So you would lower blue to get 6500K, and then you will lower green just enough to get that magenta to green balance of your camera. That's how you do it. It's as simple as that. So let's say you are on the last pictures, 200 to 255. It's about the same. You are on those last pictures, you lower blue until you get 6500K, then you lower green until you get that magenta to green balance, and you're done. And then what you do is you test those last pictures. Okay, now I have 6500K. When you test the pictures, you will see that most of them are going to be ranging between 6450 to 6550K with about the same magenta to green balance. So you're done. If you do that, you're done. Then you will see for the lower end what to do. You do the same thing for the lower end. Keep red in 0 and lower or increase blue. So in my case, for example, for the lower end, it was too warm. it was like 6400K, okay, or 6350K. So we have 6350K, we have a warmer than 6500K. So what I did is I increased blue. So now when I increase blue, the problem is that magenta to green is going up. So I'm having green 0.005 or 0.006, something like that. That's why I lowered green, or not that much, like maybe 0.003, something like that. That was 0.003, 0.004. So that's why I lowered green. So I noticed, okay, this is too warm. This is below 6500K, it's too warm. I need to increase blue for that lower end. But what happens when I increase blue is that it is leaning towards green. So that balance, magenta to green, is leaning towards green, so I need to reduce green. That's why. That's what I did. And then on the 22-point calibration, what I did was to start from 0 to 255, start with a picture of the grayscale that was giving me the reading, because the cell phone camera is not able to detect very low light pictures. In my case, the S23 Ultra has a phenomenal low light performance. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Okay, so it's going to depend on your camera. How soon can you start with this 22-point calibration? In my case, with my camera, I was able to start here in 135. Okay, so I didn't touch the first two steps because I was not getting any reading. But now here I started at 135 and then I did this. And the reason why I increased the green here, for example, was because it was leaning towards magenta. Okay, so if it's leaning towards magenta, you increase green. And the reason why I lowered blue was because it was cooler than 6500. It was probably 6650K. Okay, so I needed to decrease blue to get it from 6650K to get it to 6500K. Okay, that's how you know what to change here. Don't touch the red. This is the same red that we had before to increase the visibility near black, so I'm not touching that calibration. I'm not touching that red. I am only touching green and blue. I am increasing or decreasing or increasing blue to get it to 6500K, and I am changing the green to get that magenta to green balance. It's that simple. That's what I am doing. So yeah, this looks absolutely amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. I'm gonna do a separate video with before and after because this video is already too long. I will show you before and after on a separate video. Try it yourself. Let me know how you like it. For me, this is like absolutely incredible. Now I cannot unsee the difference. It's just big difference. So I'll do a separate video. This video is too long already. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions if you have any questions.